So, how do you go from a two-room apartment in India with no phone to running a $2 trillion company? Today, we're going to dive into the mind of Google and Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai, all to uncover this one powerful idea that really shaped his entire journey: the step change. To really get a handle on Sundar Pichai, you've got to grasp the insane scale of this journey. Just picture this, right? On one side, you have a 12-year-old kid in a tiny two-room apartment in Chennai, India. And on the other, the CEO of a $2 trillion tech giant. I mean, the gap between those two lives, it seems pretty much impossible to cross.
And get this, when someone asked him what his younger self would think of his future, Pichai's answer says it all. He's like, I would have probably laughed it off. He just found it so completely unbelievable. So, what happened in between? That's the big question we're digging into today. How does that kid from Chennai become the leader of Alphabet? Well, the answer starts with some really profound, life-changing experiences. Okay, so to understand Pichai's vision for the future, we have to rewind. We've got to go back to his past. You see, his worldview wasn't just shaped by scarcity, it was literally forged by it. For him, seeing technology for the first time wasn't about some cool new gadget, it was about total transformation. Let's make this real for a second. Pichai's family was on a 5-year waiting list just to get a rotary telephone. A 5-year wait. During a drought, their family was limited to just 8 buckets of water a day. If they needed blood test results, that was a 4-hour round trip to the hospital. And something simple like a hot shower from a tap, yeah, that didn't happen for many, many years. See, for most of us, new tech is an upgrade, right? A faster phone, a better app. But for Pichai, every single one of these technological leaps was a fundamental change in his life. A phone didn't just make calling easier, it literally connected his entire neighborhood to the world. Running water didn't just save time, it reshaped their entire daily existence. And this gets right to the heart of his core belief, one that was forged in those early years. He realized that technology isn't just about small, incremental improvements. No, it's the engine of what he calls the step change, a massive, non-linear leap in your quality of life. And this one idea would go on to define his entire leadership style. So how does that whole philosophy from his childhood translate to his leadership today? Especially when a leader like him has to handle this moment of intense global pressure, when it seems like the whole world thinks you're falling behind. I mean, it's hard to forget, right? Just a little over a year ago, the story everywhere was that Google had lost its magic, that it was, without a doubt, losing the AI race. People were writing articles calling for Pichai to step down. The pressure was just enormous. So what do you do? I mean, how do you lead a gigantic organization when the entire outside world is just filled with criticism and doubt? Well, Pichai has this really fascinating way of thinking about it. He explains his whole method with this incredible analogy: scuba diving. Think about it. The surface of the ocean is all choppy and chaotic. That's the public noise, the media critics, the daily freakouts. But if you go just a few feet down, it's completely calm. He believes a leader's job is to operate in those calm depths, to tune out all that surface noise and just focus on the few signals that actually matter. Okay, so now let's look to the future. Because this whole leadership approach has really been in service of a vision that's way bigger than just trying to catch up in some race. It's about what he believes is the most profound technology humanity has ever worked on. That is just a wild statement. Let that sink in. More profound than fire, which gave us heat and light and let us cook food. More profound than electricity, which, powers our entire modern civilization. It's a huge claim. So, what's the logic behind it? So why would he say something that bold? Well, his thinking is that AI is just fundamentally different. For one, it can recursively improve itself, which is a game changer. 2, it speeds up the very act of innovation and creation. And that means it has the potential to unlock creativity for billions of people, not just a handful. And maybe the most important part, unlike fire or electricity, we have absolutely no idea what its ceiling is. The sky's the limit, or maybe there is no sky. But of course, a technology with no clear ceiling, that brings up some really serious questions about risk. In the AI world, you hear this term a lot, pongdu. Basically, the probability that a superintelligence could lead to, well, human extinction. And here's the thing, Pichai doesn't just dismiss this. He's actually surprisingly open about it, admitting that the underlying risk is actually pretty high. But he pairs this with this deep sense of optimism. He truly believes that if the threat becomes real, all of humanity will come together and align to make sure that the worst-case scenario just doesn't happen.
And that right there, that tells you everything. The real source of his optimism isn't some blind faith in the technology itself. Nope, it's a bet on us. His wager is that we, as humanity, will rise to the occasion and prove that we can handle this incredible power responsibly.
So, when you look at the whole story, from a childhood defined by scarcity to this grand vision for a future powered by AI, it all comes back to this one thing: a fundamental belief in human potential. Both the potential for one single person's life to experience a massive step change, and for all of us to manage the amazing tools we create.
So naturally, when he's asked for advice, it reflects his whole journey. He says you have to find what you love by listening to your heart, not just your head. He says you have to surround yourself with people who are better than you are. And you have to intentionally put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Why? Because, as he puts it, that's when you'll really surprise yourself. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. Sundar Pichai's life was totally defined by the step changes that technology brought to him. His leadership now is all about trying to bring the next great step change, AI, to the rest of the world. So the question for all of us is pretty simple. In this world of insane accelerating change, what step change will you create?